What's up guys, my name is Juggery and in this video I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on how to get better at In this video I'm going to focus on things that I do to play the character and how I improve, and I'm not going to really be going over the general information on Hanzo since I feel like there's an abundance of that on YouTube and on other websites already. The most important thing you need when playing Hanzo is a legendary skin. Before you do anything, make sure you save up gold or get lucky and get one of these, because I'm pretty sure there's a secret tooltip somewhere that says a legendary skin gives you like 50% confidence boost, which really makes the world of difference when playing Hanzo. Trust me. The next thing I want to talk about is your mouse sensitivity and crosshair. I see a lot of people ask about DPI and sensitivity, and I personally use 8 in-game sensitivity with 400 DPI. I can tell you that this is all personal preference. However, most people I see that struggle with aim usually have too high of a sensitivity. A lower sensitivity typically allows for easier muscle memory and allows you to make small crosshair adjustments more accurately. The important aspect about sensitivity is, once you find a comfortable setting, stick with it. You are bound to have some bad games where you just start getting out-aimed, but if you're constantly changing your sensitivity every other game, it will be very difficult to improve your aim. It's also important to use the same sensitivity across all heroes. In regards to your crosshair, I think this is a bit more lenient in terms of changing it all the time, but in my opinion I would still choose one and stick with it, especially for Hanzo since his projectiles have a drop-off. You might be subconsciously using a specific part of the crosshair to aim at certain distances without even knowing it, and constantly changing your crosshair might not be the best. The default crosshair is quite nice, and I know a lot of people find the different levels in it quite useful to assist with aiming at certain distances. I personally use the short crosshair. The next question I see a lot is, how do you hit mobile heroes such as Tracer and Genji? Besides the obvious answer, use scatter arrow, the key here for me is patience. You only need to land one arrow to send Tracer and her poor British accent back to spawn. The typical Tracer routine is to strafe while shooting at you and use teleport during reload. Knowing this, try your best to take the shot right after she teleports and don't just be spamming left click. On the other hand, Genjis love to jump. Their trajectory is usually quite predictable after their double jump, so try to hold on until they are airborne to release the shot. These are obviously very loose tips that won't apply to every situation you are in, but hopefully they'll help you out a bit when dealing with them. Mobility is a big aspect in Overwatch. Holding down left click drastically slows your movement speed down as Hanzo, which makes you an easy target for the enemy. The draw time for Hanzo is actually quite fast, so be constantly changing positions and moving. I rarely hold down left click for more than 2 or 3 seconds at once. Using right mouse button will release the draw without shooting out an arrow. If you pay attention, you'll see that I do this quite a bit in this sample game. I find this to be a bit more useful instead of just shooting the arrow mindlessly before moving, because sometimes shooting a random arrow could give your position away, and I mean, you gotta keep those accuracy statistics up somehow, right? Finally, don't forget about Hanzo's wall climb. Besides raw aim, this is what will eventually set apart great Hanzos from good Hanzos. Hanzo can hit some pretty nutty shots when jumping off a wall, similar with Widowmaker's grapple shot, and using wall climb efficiently is what pushes Hanzo's power to the next level. Here I'm showing you one of Hanzo's custom settings, automatic wall climb. When you have this on, you no longer need to hold down spacebar to wall climb. I have this toggled off nowadays since I feel like it gives me more control over my character, but this is really up to you as to how you want it. Next I'm going to be going over the reason we all play Hanzo, his ultimate. His ultimate does tons of damage and covers a big area but is loud and slow. Try to utilize off angles when shooting his ultimate, basically angles that people won't expect the ultimate to be coming from. For example, when the payload is coming through the second checkpoint, try shooting it from these diagonal angles since most people expect it to be coming from directly ahead. If the payload is a little bit past the first checkpoint, use the room here and your ultimate will basically bloom right on top of the enemy. The idea here is that you want to give your opponent the least amount of time to react, so you don't want to be launching your ultimate from too far away. If the payload is on the first checkpoint, you can also opt to shoot it directly downwards from here. Has a nice little surprise from above. I've found a lot more success using Dragon Strike as a short-range nuke, even though it's an ability that can fly through the whole map. Next up is Scatter Arrow. The general tip here is to aim at the feet of your opponent. However, if you just need to land some damage, aiming at the midpoint between you and your enemy allows for the shards to fan into a bigger cone ahead of you. Of course, shooting closer towards the feet allows for max damage, as it is more likely to have multiple shards hit on the target. This is more clearly shown here with Mr. Roadhog. Again, you can see shooting at the midpoint allows for a bigger cone ahead of you, however only one shard hit, dealing a small amount of damage. But when I aim closer towards his feet, multiple shards hit and take out nearly 2/3 of his HP. Lastly, here's a brief clip of how I first started to practice Hanzo. I used the practice range to train my flick shots. Nothing in a live game will be moving slower than these bots. I practiced this by aiming at a random spot and then instantly flicking to the bots. This is some basic practice and is a good stepping stone for actually hitting these shots on live games. Thanks for watching, and let me know how I can improve and what you would like to see in the future. See ya!